Get a copyright strike. Let's stop the music. Okay, there we go. All right, back to locals. Hey, and 4 hearts. Okay, why is the screen blank? I'm confused. Oh, okay, there we are. What's going on? Good evening, everybody. I hope you're all well. Let me just start the... I'll do one of the Chinese spyware things. Let's see. This is episode number 125. I'll just put Bitcoin because we're going to talk a little bit about that. And it doesn't work. So, okay, fine. Let's just go live. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Good evening, everybody. And I hope you're all well. I hope I don't look like death. Good news. Had a rough few days. My computer died. My infrastructure died. I died of COVID. Well, I couldn't have died of COVID because I'm vaccinated, so it's impossible. But I am alive despite some very, very frustrating days. And I am on antibiotics, which means fuck it. It's just one of those weeks. We're gonna celebrate some stuff. What we're gonna celebrate is us going to war, because that's what's gonna be next in the drama of bullshit that we've been all sucked into. Avril, good evening. Jesse, hey Ben, you look better than I thought you would. Hope you feel okay. I just kind of rested a lot, and yesterday was a rough day. John, what's up, brother? Hey, y'all, finally alive when I'm not on the road. Oh, good for you, brother. Well, we can finally chill and hang out together on the stream. Hitchhiker, what's up? K9, big announcement. K9 is finally in the Discord server. I was so happy to see that because we do have a channel in Discord for research and source material, and she's Queen researcher, so we have now a place for you to put all of your stuff so we can all sift through all the data, so that's awesome. Diane, you handsome, don't worry. Well, I don't feel handsome. I feel like, at least today I could speak. Yesterday I really couldn't, I couldn't talk, so whatever. Going to war, Robert. Yes, we are going to war, and if anybody ever thought I'm gonna back down, oh, they're sorely mistaken. And there's a lot going on that's going to be concerning all of you as well, not just myself, which is why I was very concerned about some of the stuff. And I put some things out on Twitter yesterday. It'll take me a long time to get everything on there. Listen, K9, take your time. We're eventually going to be doing, like Twitter Spaces, where you do like a communal stage and everybody talks. We're going to do that in video form on the Discord. So, a couple of us can start doing a live stream, especially within the Discord, to share information and all that sort of stuff. That's kind of what we're going to. Dale, hello from Edmonton. Good evening. Keith, hey, bud. It's good to see you, brother. Angel Fire, you were awesome all this week. Thank you so much. You were very, very sweet. I really appreciate all your love and support. Ashley, finally checking another live thanks to K9. Well, awesome. And Ashley, I do want to talk to you because I was thinking to take a few weeks off and go, I don't know, I want to go do some training. You know the type of training I'm talking about. You're familiar with it. I was going to go, I don't know where to go, somewhere either in the U.S. or over in Asia, just away from all the BS and reset myself. And, I want to get some actual lessons and some of the stuff that you're an expert in and that I've read about for many, many years. So... if it's the war they want, it's the war they're going to get. 100% Freedom Cowgirl. And, it's going to be interesting. So, let me explain a couple of things. So, first thing, I didn't die, so I lied. Fake news. I'm guilty of fake news by saying I died. Many people who've been asking about the JCCF, I just say that the JCCF are a bunch of whores and chazers is the only way to describe them. I've had many influential people tell me that certain individuals run it are lunatics. And so the JCCF, all of this could be solved. The problem I'm going to discuss right now briefly. I'm not going to get into it in a lot of detail today. I want this to be a little bit positive, but the $5 million that they have raised for the truckers, again, it's always the ambiguous truckers, right? Those of us who drive trucks, we don't count. Especially those of us who stuck our neck out for everybody. We don't count, right? The $5 million plus that they raised, they are keeping for themselves, and they're using to defend Tamara and Chris and the few remaining road captains who are put on the board to stack that whatever's left of the board. People have no clue what they've gotten themselves into. And the rest of us are all screwed. So all of this could be very easily solved if they weren't such chazer pigs. Chazer's, pig that don't fly straight, if you remember Scarface. If they just transfer a percentage of the money that they raised off the backs of all of us to my council so he can defend the rest of us, and then everybody's happy. But they won't do that because they're disgusting pigs, right? Hopefully that will change, but I don't know. It is what it is. So why is that important? And why does that affect all of you? Because, well, not all of you, but it may affect some of you. Because, I don't mean ambiguous, I mean in very direct terms. The $450 million lawsuit, the class action lawfare, this is class action lawfare at unprecedented levels. And of course, we have no one in politics with a functioning testicle that can push back against lawfare, and that's the state of our country. This $450 million lawsuit is not yet certified, and I and the others have to file a statement of defense in this case, which is quite expensive. Very, very expensive and very, very in-depth. And I'm going to talk more about it another time. But after that statement of defense, then they try to get the case certified. If it does get certified, I don't know the mechanisms exactly. We're still researching. I'm still learning. That's why I don't want to get into too much detail. They want to then apply everybody who donated, or at least key figures who donated to the convoy to make them defendants. So Give, Send, Go was just added as a defendant. So that means if you donated $50, $100 to the Give, Send, Go or the GoFundMe, probably Give, Send, Go because they have the data on who donated, then you might be dragged in to the class action suit. That's why what I'm trying to do is to try to help you by getting this not certified, to block certification, and to argue why it shouldn't be certified. And if it's not certified, then nobody has to worry. But if it does get certified, now the door is open for them to go after anyone who donated anything to the convoy. So that's why that's important. I'm going to park it there. We'll get into that more in the next stream or a couple of streams because obviously I'm talking to a bunch of people. And it is what it is. But let's get on to some other stuff tonight. But I just want to lay that right now. So that's one of the many things that I've been dealing with this week, aside from dying of COVID and almost running into an RV. Oh, God. So after dying for a couple of days, go to my truck. I get there at 5 a.m. because, well, that's what a trucker does, to do a short run just to go to Ottawa for the day and back. And, of course, my truck is iced in, not snowed. I mean, there was snow, but there's also iced. And an hour and a half at picking at ice, try to rock it out, couldn't get it out. And that's how the rest of the day went. And anyways, I posted it on Twitter. That was just me ranting or venting, and I apologize. Can't always be positive. Sometimes there's some things that gets to even the best of us who do our best to maintain that positive frame. So anyways, all right. I want to talk about something that's important and unique to, in my opinion and my experience, to Canadians and all of us. And this is going to be relevant to stuff moving forward. Van, they are vile and disgusting. Who are vile and disgusting, Van? And Will, all good here. Good to see you, Will. Cheryl, it's great to see you here as well. Thank you for all your kind messages. I really appreciate it. All right. So, as the title, the good guys, bad guys, banks, and Bitcoin. This is something that I have noticed over many, many, many years, and most of my life. And I really saw this. I mean, obviously, the convoy was another example of this. Politics has been an example of this. And more so, it was most evident living in Latin America, where I saw this weakness of us as Canadians. And this is one of the reasons Americans kind of make fun of us. And I think we should start addressing this issue and not ignoring it any longer. BJdichter, when you have COVID, the less you do, the faster you get over it. I had it 3 times. You know what? I don't know if I even had it. So I didn't lose my sense of taste, just sense of smell, whatever. I just had a pretty bad cold. I mean, I tried to just keep working through it as much as possible. I had one day that I was just in bed the whole day. But I didn't feel nearly as bad as when I took the AstraZeneca vaccine the day before it was banned. Like, I waited as late as I could because I really was not jumping at the chance to get back. But I had no choice. I really had no choice. So I waited as long as I could. I got AstraZeneca, and the next day it was banned. Government. And don't apologize for doing the right thing. I have a great amount of respect for you. Oh, well, thank you. And we love you, and we're all good here. Well, thank you. And listen, so many of you sent me so many nice messages over the past few days while I was sick, fighting with Apple, trying to get my computer back up and running, and everything else was just kind of falling apart. Some of you were amazing, and I really want to thank you. And Yana was one of them, sending me messages over Instagram. I really appreciate it. By the way, if you're on Instagram, you can follow me there. I don't use it all that much, but I use a little bit. Vitamin D and wine will fix you right up. Well, it's vitamin D, antibiotics, and wine, and some other vitamins. Whatever. You got to live it up, right? All right. So this characteristic that was very evident when you travel around the world around Canadians, and I heard it recently when having a conversation with somebody who I like and respect about our dirtbag lawyer, that we call him the soccer ball now. If you watch War Campaign, you know exactly who I'm talking about. By the way, if you look at Keith Wilson, let me see if I can get that picture up here. Where is... This is going to be worth it. Oh, wait, and I forgot. I had to reboot my machine, so I've now lost the links that I had open. Okay, I'll have to open them 1 second. I want to show you this. Let's go to War Campaign, because it was his thumbnail. And maybe I'm primed for it because I read this book this week called The Russians Among Us. No, last week. And let me just get this for you. Let's see. War Campaign is where I want to go. And let's see, view more. Let's see their... I want to see the thumbnail. Okay, yeah. Let's see if we can zoom. Can I zoom in here? Oh, wait. Yeah. Oh, wait. Okay, well, hold on 1 second. I'm having some technical issues here, but that's a little bit big. And I promise this is going to be, I don't know, maybe worth it. It's just a thing of consideration that I think is important for us to address. And maybe it's just a funny thing. I don't know. But, where is this thing? You know, I had everything queued up before. I had to reboot my machine 3 times just to get it to print. And then I realized, oh, you dummy, you have the wrong USB plugged in, and that's why it wouldn't print. Okay, yeah, here it is. This is the thumbnail. Wait, no, I just lost it. Where did it go? It just lost it. It's the Adopt a Lawyer thumbnail. It's that one. It's this one here. Yeah, okay, here it is. All right. One more. Let's see. Oh, okay. I can't. This is not going to work. I'm trying to show you well, I'm going to do it small anyways, and hopefully you can see it. I don't know. I'll do my best here. But look at this. Pardon me. I'm going to do a lot of that tonight. See this thumbnail, adopt a lawyer? You see that thumbnail, right? Where's that guy from? Does that guy look like his name is Wilson? Does he look British to you? Look at that face. Does that not look like a Slavic face? That's not a British face. That's not a Wilson. That's Slavic. Look at his face. What's going on with that guy? And then we found out about, well, yeah, I'm going to save it for another time, but we found out through some other people, we actually had some intervention, or I shouldn't say intervention. We had some disruptors that were trying to sabotage us. Not when we were dealing with all these other little proxy groups and whatever. But there was a guy who was Asian that was trying to get us to, he was described to me as, to storm the Parliament building. And I remember I was in the Sheraton, and it was in the, I think, the Ark Hotel. Oh, no, it was in the Swiss. And the guy showed up. I'll give you, I don't know, $500,000 to storm the Parliament building. Somebody called me panicking, saying, "You're not going to believe what somebody just offered." I said, no. Call everybody. Peace, love. Not doing it. Who is this guy? Get rid of him. And they're like, oh, some Asian guy. He's Russian. The guy was Russian from the Soviet Union. And guess who he paid for to come to Canada? Guess who? Christine Alexander. What the fuck is going on? Oh my God, it's so insane what I've come across over the past few weeks. It's a good thing I have a lot of friends who know how to do proper research on some stuff, but just really crazy stuff. All right, okay. So I want to get back onto this whole topic of good guys and bad guys. So this friend of mine who I like and respect says to me about the soccer ball, the activist who pretends to be a lawyer. He said to me, I explained all of these things. You've seen most of this information in the war campaign videos, in the Diverge Media articles. So those of you who've been reading them, you understand what's going on. Marilyn's from Devon, Alberta. Awesome. Cool. Thank you for joining us, Devon. So for those of you, most of you have seen everything that War Campaign and Diverge Media has uncovered about the convoy being sabotaged and the lawyers doing backroom deals without our knowledge that sabotaged the convoy. They were trying to shrink it down to 75% of its footprint. That's what allowed us to be kettled. That's why Marazzo was working with Wilson and do all this stuff. Okay, fine. So I explained all of that to this person. And finally, he was willing to listen. He's like, I don't know, man. But he's such a nice guy. And that's when I just want to scream. I want to scream when people say, but he's a nice guy. Yeah, that's how it works. And I think that, I don't know if that's just unique to Canadians. I notice a lot of it with Canadians. You see a lot of that when you travel. There's a difference between Europeans, other Latinos, and Canadians, Americans, whatever, is Canadians will always say somebody's a nice guy. I remember going out with this guy's name was Lalo, and Lalo would come with like 6 girls. I didn't know him. He was friends of a friend. We went to some club, and Lalo was buying everybody drinks, and he was the nicest guy in the world, and everybody loved him. And I pulled one of my friends aside, and I said, who the hell's this guy? And they're like, oh, that's Lalo, whatever. I'm like, why am I in the same time zone as that guy? Like, oh, what do you mean? He's a lot of fun. He's a nice guy, whatever. I'm like, he's a narco. Like he's a massive drug dealer. What are you talking about, nice guy? Why are we here with him? What are you doing? This is how people get killed. I'm like, oh, but he's such a nice guy. Oh my God. And it was another Canadian, right? Something you learn when you live in dangerous countries, which Canadians don't have experience. Many of us don't have experience living in dangerous countries. We don't, until recently, really have dangerous neighborhoods in our cities, although thank you to John Tory and the rest of our impotent political class that have done nothing but made our cities dangerous. You learn something I learned this a long time ago when I was a kid from some people, but when you go to, like, I don't know, let's take the Albany Club, for example. Well, that's the conservative shithole that all the conservatives love to go to this place. It's a garage in downtown Toronto that all the conservatives are up their own asses about it. It's like, you know, I know, it's horrible, this place. But anyways, it's like an old traditional conservative place where everybody goes to kiss each other's ass. And, you know, you go to the Albany Club and you go to the third floor, you go to the bar, and if you go to an event and let's say the person who's the nicest person in the room, the best dressed, the most charming, the person everybody likes, that's your criminal. That's the way the real world works. The real world doesn't work like the movies, where criminals are, you know, knuckle draggers and have guns and tattoos and scary looking and whatever. That's not real life. In real life, your criminal, or in Latin America, your narco or your mafia guy here, you know who they look like? They look like your dad. They look like regular people. Really nice, really friendly people. That's how they're able to be criminals. You're not able to be a criminal by looking like an intimidating thug. That's not how real world works. And it's amazing the disconnect that Canadians seem to have. It not just Canadians, but a lot of people who live in very safe places. They have this worldview that's it's really concerning. And, you know, we see this when I talk about the people who infiltrated and sabotaged all of what we put together with that convoy. And they say, oh, but they're such a nice person. Oh, my God, yes. Listen, I might not be the nicest person in the world, but I'm honest with you. You know who I am. You know where I come from. You know where I stand when you agree or disagree. And so I was going through and I'm thinking, like, what are some good examples of people who are, like, nice guys? Well, a nice guy. Here's one that came to my mind. Bernie Madoff. Bernie Madoff was a nice guy. Everybody loved Bernie Madoff. You know who else was a nice guy amongst younger people? Sam Bankman-Fried. Really nice guy. Was doing so much for the world to help poverty and help people learn what the difference is between a boy and a girl or whatever, or the opposite, right? Kenneth Lay and Jeffrey Skilling. You know, the guys who imploded Enron and were scamming everybody for billions of dollars and destroyed people's life savings. Those are the nice guys. Those are the guys everybody wanted to have them at their parties. The example that I was told many times was Slobodan Milosevic. Slobodan Milosevic was the nicest guy in the entire Balkan regions. Everybody loved it. They had the best parties, always had great food, catered, DJs, music, nice people. He was running a genocide and murdering thousands of people, but he was a nice guy, right? You know who else was a nice guy? Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar was such a nice guy. The guy built, you know, soccer stadiums and hospitals for the poor and whatever. Such a nice guy. Unfortunately, he was paying children $20,000 for every cop that they could murder in public. But he's such a nice guy. Canadians, you got to stop with this nice guy stuff. The nice guy is the one who's got the knife in your back. I learned that during the convoy, right? All these nice guys connected to politics, all throwing knives at my back and other people's backs as well, right? But I think it's really important. We really need to drive this point home. It's something, you know, traveling around, it's uniquely Canadian that Canadians are so easily duped by the nice guy. When you see the nice guy, you should be suspicious first, right? So there's my PSA of the day. And I say this because I care about all you. And I you know, things are going to get more dicey here. Things are going to get more violent in Canada. They're going to get more dangerous. And it's really important that people understand what an actual threat is, right? The nice guy is the guy who, or should I say, the dangerous guy, I put this in a tweet somewhere, is the guy who looks like your dad and is working within the bureaucracy to strip you of all your freedoms and to strip you of the rights to discipline your children or to raise your children, you know? So there's a good example, and that will be controversial with some of these people, but I'm going to put it up here anyways, not because I want to denigrate or any Rob Ford. Rob Ford was a nice guy and coached football. Yet he was also meeting with gangbangers and smoking crack. The conservatives want to ignore that, but that's just the reality, right? And, you know, we all choose who we want to make excuses for. That's just innate of who we are as people. But it's really important, guys. It's really important. We need to understand, especially when we look at the body of evidence around the Freedom Convoy, as Greg is doing his articles and War Campaign are doing their videos on it. Like, oh, they were a nice guy. Oh, I trusted them. They were so nice to me. Yeah, they were the ones screwing you, right? So I hope you guys, and I hope I'm not going, you know, too much on this issue. I do this because I care about you, and I don't want anybody to be further screwed. I had somebody who I really have a lot of respect for earlier tonight send me a message saying he's really disappointed that he gave money to the JCCF, you know, the nice guys, and that none of it is going to myself or Bridget or Chris or Joe or Jason or Chad or this long list of 40 other truckers who've reached out to me, that we're not getting anything. But they're nice guys, right? They're so nice. Anyways. Okay, BJ, give me your opinion on, oh God, I don't, give me your opinion on Chris Guy. Some guy reamed me out because I'm not a supporter. I just want an opinion from somebody trustworthy. Oh, yeah, there you go. And Justin is such a nice guy. Justin Trudeau. There you go. Such a nice guy. Brings in communism and the CCP into your country and hands it over to them, strips you of your freedom, blocks people out of their bank accounts, and destroys the financial system, causes a bank run of $1.4 trillion, and has him and Doug Ford, another nice guy, bring in police to beat all these truckers and arrest them because of the work of Wilson and Marazzo. But nice guys, right? Like, it's really, really important. You know what? I'm going to save my opinions and conversation about the Toronto mayoral race for later on. I do suggest you all look at Ben Bankus, who is running a campaign of maximum inclusion, right? Let's see how far the woke supremacists want to double down on their woke ideology. So he's going to ban all statues of white sports heroes. He's got some really creative ideas. I think it's going to be illegal to be heterosexual or something in the city of Toronto. It's hysterical. Check him out. But anyways, Ben, that's why I like hanging with a Fed like you. Yeah, it's so like they're so. You know, and it's really so disappointing to see how easily duped people are. And like with this person who said to me, but he's such a nice guy. This is somebody who's really intelligent, highly educated, but no street smarts, right? That's it. And those are, I mean, I remember from being, I spent a lot of time in Latin America. And, you know, I heard stories of other people who traveled down there. And I remember two guys in particular from Woodbridge, from Ontario, got kidnapped within 2 days and killed. And why? Because they're mouthy. They trusted everybody that they talked to. They talked loudly in public, bragged about, you know, how wealthy they were back home. And they did it to a taxi cab driver. Like, who do you think runs the whole narco infrastructure? Like, use your head, you know, but... Anyways, another mission will go on together. Are there any sane people running for mayor in Toronto? Yes, Ben Bankus. Ben Bankus, I'm telling you, check him out. He's on Instagram, Twitter. I don't know if he's got his campaign website up yet, but he's great. He's exactly what we need. Jesse, you're killing it tonight. Jesse is the best. And Jesse, say hello to Rocky. All right. So speaking of nice guys, you know who are nice? You're nice people. The people who run SVB Bank, they were nice people, right? Because they're all about diversity. And they're all about diversity quotas and focusing on gender ideology and focusing on inclusion for minorities. Unfortunately, they just bankrupted a big portion of Silicon Valley because they didn't do the most basic functions of what a bank needs to do, which is you hedge your deposits against rising interest rates. That is, first year business school, you would learn that. They weren't doing that. They were just focusing on gender ideology and communist quotas around identity, right? That's what it is. It's just communism. That's right, Cheryl. Go woke, get woke, go broke. I agreed. So SVB Bank, they were all really nice guys, nice people. Look at them. We can go to this bank and they're going to double down on the woke supremacy ideology that's going to keep us all warm and fuzzy. It's going to attack and malign white people, but it's going to make everybody else inclusive. Unfortunately, it's going to bankrupt my business. Nice guys, right? And this ideology is spreading all over the place, right? But it's spreading. Why? And this is the problem when people attack progressives. I mean, I was on a university campus working for many, many years, running a business. I had to deal with these people. And I know people want to attribute malice to the progressives. It's so easy. But because it's easy, it's usually not accurate. These people don't think they're evil. Like all extremists don't think they're evil. They actually believe in their ideology. They actually believe that black people are incapable of self-sufficiency and building lives for themselves. So they need us to rig the game in the favor of ethnic minorities. That's how racist they are. But they don't see it as racist. They see it as, I'm just trying to help people. We just want to help. We just want everybody to have the same opportunity. And we would argue everybody does have the same opportunity. Life is hard. That's just the way life is, as we're learning with this $450 million lawfare harassment class action suit. Life is difficult, and life will always throw you curbs. But they think their ideology is what's going to solve everybody's problem. Nice guys, right? Nice people. Okay, let me get to some of your comments here. Any thoughts about? We'll do an episode on that later on, specifically on the mayoral race, and I want you all to check out Ben Bankus. You know what we'll do? I will go get right now a Ben Bankus video for all of us, and we can hear it on Locals. I will also put the link in the chat for Locals so you can watch it now that I know how to do it. So Honking for Freedom. I wasn't planning on doing this, but let's do this right now. We'll get a Ben Bankus campaign. He just released another one today, and I thought it was an effective message, and it's exactly what we need in City Hall in every country, in every city around the world. Let's see, where is it? Yes, okay, this is... is this the one? No, that's... hold on, wait, let me just get it here. And... no, you guys will like that. Gadsad did me a favor and retweeted this one. This is good. This is... you guys will all resonate with this one. All right, let me first get the screen up. And let me put the link in the Locals chat so you all have it. And you can click on it there. Let's see, it is. There we go. And Guillaume, Justin's such a nice guy. You probably thought of this, but a flyer, any avenue in suing the JCCF to share the money they raise under false pretense. I don't know if that's the way we can do it necessarily. I do want to try to avoid that, but I may have no choice. But yeah, Guillaume, I think I told you I'm going to be in Montreal hopefully next weekend. So I will let you know more. We'll talk about things face to face and I'll explain it to you. All right. I think, can you see it on You should have, yeah, okay, have it in locals now. And it's going to be small because, well, actually, I think I can expand it. Let me just move it to scrub it to the beginning. And yeah, all right. So this is one of the candidates for mayor. This is probably who I'm going to endorse, and you'll see why. Let's go.
Do you wake up every day sad, depressed, lonely, confused, poor, worried about how you're going to feed your family, feed yourself? That's why I am going to stand up for trans rights on the campus of University of Toronto. Step one, we are going to be making Jordan Peterson illegal. That means we're going to be doing weekly book burnings of Jordan Peterson's 12 rules, and we are also going to be banning him from the city. This will make people feel safe. We'll also be banning anybody who's ever been on the Joe Rogan podcast. So that means that Ryan Long will be banned from the city of Toronto, as will Gad Saad. That's right, Gad. Stay in Montreal. We don't want you here because we are an open and accepting city. This is native land.
I'll show you. What do you guys think of that? Throw your comments in there. I want to see what you think. I'm going to find one more. There was another one that was really good. This is a new one. I haven't seen this. All right.
As Mayor of Toronto, we are going to be starting a 6-month lockdown on my first day in office to recharge your batteries. As many of you may know, diversity is a constant war, which is why I have this whistle, which I blow anytime I feel like there's racism about. You guys aren't racist, right? You're not racist. One of the scariest things that you can encounter on the UFT campus is white people. They don't think they're racist, but they are. Which is why we blow the whistle at them.
All right, so that's
As Mayor of Toronto,
all right. Okay, well, we'll do. Let me see if there was one that was really good. It was one of the earlier ones as well. I like. Oh yeah, I think this is the one about the statues.
Statues are of white men, privileged men who played men's sports. These statues will be torn down when I become Prime Minister of Toronto, and we will replace them with all trans athletes. So this is going to be Leah Thomas right here. We are on the unceded native territory of the Mississauga, and this building should be torn down. These are statues of white men. They do not deserve to be on the streets of my city, not in my Toronto. We're getting rid of white people, period. Because we see them as domestic terrorists. That is what Jordan Peterson is. Become trans, get a tax break. Paul Van Bank is Mayor of Toronto. Every other candidate is racist. I want to suck a penis right now.
Okay, well, all right, we'll figure the last part, but I think you get the you get the picture. So when it comes to my candidate, right now I'm leaning towards Ben Bankus. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I think he might have a shot. Right? Let's test this. Test the woke supremacists and see how far they want to go with this stuff, right? I just saw that video and thought, what the hell? Then decided he needs to be mayor. That's awesome. Exactly. Is this parody? Listen, I am no DJ Productions. There's something that I can't remember where I hear it all the time. Oh, Adam talks about this all the time. That the strongest form of protest is absorb and amplify and see how far they want to take it, right? Well, let's test how far the woke supremacists want to go. Let's outdo them at their own game and see how quickly they retract. Couldn't be worse than bad boy Mel Hesman. Mel was great when I was a kid, when he was mayor of Toronto, of North York. He was really, really good. I think it's when the amalgamation happened, there was just too much going on and it just became too much to manage. But anyways, that's nobody. All right, I'm going to, I want to get on to another example of nice guys. And this is also tangentially related to Bitcoin, which is something that I am passionate about. By the way, I think I've retweeted a couple of times. I'm going to talk more and more about this moving forward. The Bitcoin Freedom Festival in Massachusetts in June 24th. I will be there. It's going to be a massive outdoor music festival event. It should be a hell of a lot of fun right in the middle of summer. Massachusetts is, for those of you who don't know, if you're in the GTA region, is only about an 8-hour drive, 9 hours in the truck. I'm going to go there. I'm going to be involved for a whole bunch of reasons at that festival with some other people. They do want to honor the Canadian truckers. We're trying to get a list of Canadian truckers who are going to participate and going to be there. They are very, very thankful for everything that we did in Ottawa and all of you who supported us as well, because they saw the effects in the United States too. So they want to include us in this festival. So June 24th in Massachusetts. I will talk more about that moving forward. You should come join us. And if you are in the GTA in Toronto, I will also be a keynote at Bitcoin Canada, which is June the 7th, I believe, if you're in the Toronto area. Mel's amazing. Yeah, Mel was a neighbor of my parents in Florida. Here's a story about Mel Lastman. My dad this is, I don't know, 5 or 10 years ago. My dad goes to whatever store. I don't know. Usually, my dad's like a handyman type guy. Taught me how to use tools and stuff as a little kid. So he was, I think, at Harbor Tools, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been somewhere else, but it's a place he goes somewhere. He's at some store, and he's returning something. And in the U.S., a lot of retailers are always ask for your ID. So he shows them his Ontario driver's license when he's returning something. So who comes up beside my dad? Because my dad had met him many, many years ago. The person that comes up beside him is Mel Lastman. And so the girl behind the counter takes his ID and says, what's this ID? He says, I'm from Canada. If you go to Florida a lot as a Canadian, you get this a lot. I'm Canadian. It's a country we know. You guys think it's just a rumor. It's on top of you. It's Ontario ID. So she says, okay, hold on one second. And she walks away. And Mel says hello to my dad. And says, oh, hi, how have you been? All that sort of stuff. And then the girl comes back with the ID. And then Mel Lastman pipes up. And he says, I wouldn't trust that. my dad says, Mel. And he says, I was the mayor of Toronto. I know when I see legitimate identification. I'm sorry, I don't know this person. That's not legitimate identification. My dad says, Mel, get the fuck out of here. He's like, I don't know. Anyways, so that's kind of the sense of humor that Mel Lastman had. And I think he's one of the only people in politics, at least in recent years, like him or not, who actually had a sense of humor, right? Which is important. That's why the retards in politics don't like me. None of them have the intellectual capacity for a sense of humor. But anyways, okay. So let me get to this video I want to show you, and then we'll go to some comments and your perspectives and ideas. I want to know who you guys are thinking who is good for mayor of Toronto, or any other election stuff, or what you think about what's going on in the rest of the parties. We'll get to that. But let me just open up this video here. And this I thought would serve as a great example. This was posted by Robert Breedlove. I was on Robert Breedlove's podcast a little while ago. He just released it last week. If you haven't watched it, I suggest you watch it. Jesse, I know you're new to Bitcoin. Robert is very, very well recognized. He's like, I describe him, I hope he doesn't get me angry for describing it this way. I kind of describe him as kind of like the Jordan Peterson of Bitcoin. I know that's not accurate, and I know a lot of people would be screaming right now. I'm just trying to give an analogy for people who don't know Bitcoin, okay? So give me some leeway on the accuracy, but just to give a sense of the amount of persuasion and influence he has over Bitcoin. All right, so Robert posted this video with Senator Cynthia Lummis, who is a Republican senator from Wyoming, I believe. And Cynthia Lummis is a big Bitcoiner. Trump supported her to get elected. And Cynthia Loomis got into Bitcoin was very interesting for people who are new to Bitcoin and don't get it. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I spoke to Robert about Jordan and Bitcoin, and I'm gonna send him a message sometime soon. I got to send him an email about some other stuff, and I'm gonna let him know I want to talk to him about Bitcoin, because Robert and I were discussing just that issue. But anyways, Cynthia Loomis used to be the treasurer, the state treasurer for the state of Wyoming. And what she was frustrated with, I believe she's got an economics background. She was frustrated with the fact that her state treasury would always be inflated because of the fiat dollar system that we all use. Like, I don't know how many people know this. I mean, I learned this one as a kid watching a documentary that I talked about on Robert's podcast. Check it out. Robert Breedlove, What is Money is the name of the podcast. I'll be posting in the next couple of days. But, like when you look at a product, let's take, for example, I don't know, a 67 Corvette was, if I remember correctly, it retailed for approximately $3,000, okay? If you're going to get it the last year of the first of the Zora Duntov design, that's like the iconic Stingray. So the last year, I think it was about $3,500, $3,200 US to buy a Corvette Stingray. Whereas today, a Corvette Stingray, not even getting a Z06 or whatever, you're looking at about $100,000 for maybe an LT2 package. That's not normal. That's not supposed to happen. That's an inflationary currency. That's your government and your monetary system, which is a socialist monetary system, by the way, taking away your wealth over 100 years or over the period of your life. A lot of people don't understand that. That's not normal. During the years between 1800 and 1850 in the United States, the US dollar, because they didn't have a central bank at that time, I believe they didn't have, Hamilton, I think, got rid of the central bank. I'm confusing them. I have to go back to my records. But between the years of 1800 and 1850, I believe it was, the US dollar was deflationary. So in that example, of that Corvette that was $3,500, if it was deflationary, 50 years later would be $1,500. Like that's, or at least that's not exactly accurate because I'm conflating purchasing power with actual dollar value, but I'm just for the purpose of analogy so people understand that. So Cynthia Loomis, who has an economics background and was state treasurer, understands that. And she was really frustrated that they would be trying to build budget surpluses for the state, but then every year they would be losing 3%, 4% purchasing power, 2%, whatever it was, due to inflation and our current monetary policy. So she looked at gold. She looked at the basket of alternatives for savings, and she kept coming up on Bitcoin. Like all of us, we all think it's a scam in the beginning. I did too. I'm like, what is this? Even as a techie guy, I thought it was a scam. Everybody does. And then you start digging into it and understand how it operates. And then you realize, as Cynthia Loomis did, that wait, this solves the Byzantine generals problem, a mathematical logistics problem that is thousands of years old. Like, this is as significant as the printing press. People don't understand it unless you're, a numbers guy, computer guy, whatever. But that's what Bitcoin is. It's a solution to the Byzantine generals problem. So anyways, she, looked at it, came back to it 6 months later, looked at it again, and eventually she started and became a Bitcoiner. And I believe she put some of the state treasury in Bitcoin, if I'm not mistaken. She might not have. She might have intended to. And then she became senator. Okay, so now you know the backdrop. This is Cynthia Loomis trying to challenge the lefties, because the lefties are, Bitcoin is bad for the environment. But the fiat banking system, with all of their skyscrapers and the hundreds of thousands of people, or millions of people they employ all over the world, that carbon footprint doesn't count. But a bunch of small computers, that's destroying the planet. Like, it's insane. It's insane, the argument they're trying to pose. But people are falling for it. So this is Cynthia Loomis. And I'm going to go back to the whole nice guy thing, okay? Let's watch this video together. And I think you'll all understand this. You don't have to, like Jesse, I know you're new to Bitcoin. You don't have to know Bitcoin to understand this, I don't think, right? The only thing you have to understand is mining is the equivalent of minting or printing dollars, okay? So with fiat money, they print money, what's now digitally printed, but printing money is what fiat dollars does. In Bitcoin, it's called mining. Why? Because a computer solves an algorithm to create new Bitcoin, but it's the same process. So mining is just creating new Bitcoin. All right, let me put it on the thing here. Let me expand it so you can all see. And I hope you can all listen. I hope you heard the other videos when I put them up. I'm trying to put it on the maximum volume for all of you, okay? Right now.
First question is for Mr. Altenberg. What does a digital asset mining operation look like? I mean, are there shovels?
And on locals, you just have to hear this. You don't have to see it.
What does it look like?
It depends where the location, though. The mining sites that are being placed that are fracked gas wells, they're essentially semi-trailers that have methane gas powered generators that are plugged into the well, and big shipping containers full of racks of Bitcoin miners.
Okay, and a Bitcoin miner is actually a computer.
Yeah, it's about the size of a toaster, and it uses 3 times the energy of a house.
Okay,
Not
so
true,
there
but
is,
okay.
A bunch of toasters in a line. Sometimes they're dipped in fluids, so they run cooler. They can be air cooled, they can be water cooled, but it's basically just a computer.
Yes.
So, is that computer that's mining Bitcoin directly emitting pollutants?
You will all love this, I promise. You'll understand why in a second.
It's energy source, it's electric source is what's emitting.
Okay, so now let's take an EV charging station. If that EV charging station is powered by electricity from natural gas or coal, shouldn't it also have the same monitoring that is being requested by this bill?
I think the issue is looking at how efficiency is measured. It's
Gotcha! So what's happening is they're trying to put restrictions on the use of electricity for mining Bitcoin, so these little computers that mine Bitcoin. But what she's saying is, well, then why don't you want the same restrictions on powering electric cars? Are you trying to say that little computer uses more electricity than an electric car? So she's got him. All right, here we go. Mr. Nice Guy in front of us.
sources of electricity, whether it's the lights or the speaker system here, are going to use electricity and and produce a certain amount of work for that electricity. The issue with Bitcoin and proof of work cryptocurrency is the work that we are doing is not actually necessary to have cryptocurrency or to have blockchain technology.
Okay, so remember, I think it was the last stream, I talked about the seven signs of cognitive dissonance. And one of the 7 is word salad. You just heard a little bit of word salad, didn't you? Anyways, let's go on.
Let's talk about gold. Where does gold come from?
It's mined.
It's mined, okay. Is energy expended in producing gold?
Yes.
Okay. Is gold absolutely essential?
For certain technologies, it is.
Is it Congress's job to decide whether an energy use is worthwhile or not? I mean, surely you've heard that Bitcoin is digital gold because it is limited to 21 million Bitcoin ever to be mined. It is permissionless, which means you don't have to rely on a third party, a trusted third party, to do transactions in it or to hold it. It is a store of value, and that is commonly agreed to. Okay, so you've got gold, it's a store of value. You've got Bitcoin, it's a store of value. They both consume energy to produce. Now, is it Congress's role to say gold is a more worthwhile use of energy than Bitcoin?
There is a long history of the
Watch for the word salad.
very thing. We have energy efficiency standards for appliances. We've got CAFE standards for vehicles. And for most air pollution, for most new air pollution sources,
So why is he going off in three different directions talking about things that are completely irrelevant to her question?
there's legal requirements that before they operate, they install the best available technology to reduce the pollution. So we do make those decisions every day.
So
he just said nothing in his response. 7 signs of cognitive dissonance because she's got him trapped.
still mining coal in this country. We're still producing natural gas, and we have the cleanest burning natural gas in probably the world here in the United States, and produce it in the most environmentally sound manner. But it's a hydrocarbon. So if my car is oil consuming or natural gas consuming, is it a less worthy use of energy than energy that comes from coal and natural gas, but is converted to electricity for an EV?
Well, there are using.
Yep. Okay, we're almost done. We're almost done.
Our entire transportation network requires a certain amount of energy, and there are economic benefits that we get from that transportation network.
I have one, and my time's about up, so thank you. I have a question for Ms. Detlinger.
Okay, so to my my original point about what I was talking about, the nice guys.
There are
This guy here in front of you, Rob Altenberg, looks like, remember I said the nice guy looks like your dad? Credible guy. He might be a nice guy, he might not be. I don't know. But in the context of what you're seeing right now, what he's trying to do is help put forward a bill that strips you of your individual right to buy and custodial Bitcoin without intrusion from the government. He's trying to limit your ability to have financial freedom or financial sovereignty. That is evil right there. That's what evil looks like. Stripping you of your freedoms, utilizing the bureaucracy, and hiding behind legislation to do so. Evil doesn't look like a guy with tattoos riding a Heritage Softail Harley and, I don't know, an NRA vest or whatever. That's not what evil looks like. This is what evil looks like. Looks like anybody else, and trying to encroach on your life and your freedoms and strip you of your freedoms and give more power to the bureaucracy that will crush you, like they did in Ottawa to the Freedom Convoy. So, just my 2 cents on the topic. Okay, let's go to everybody's comments here. Michelle, great analysis, Ben. Well, thank you very much. Bloody hell, you just described one of my exes. I probably described a lot of people's exes. Ashley, the confusion technique, yes, and you saw a lot of that from Wilson. He uses confusion, and he uses conflation a lot. He did that with, you put that email, said looks good to me. Yeah, it looks good to me about a completely different topic than what you're asking me about, right? The look good to me, for those of you who watch the POEC, they were asking about my email response, looks good to me. It wasn't about a board meeting decision about this fake deal that they manufactured. The looks good to me was response to the letter going to the premier, because they said, we think we have somebody at the premier's office who's willing to listen to me, and they were going to draft a letter. And I said, okay, looks good to me, right? So he uses conflation, confusion technique, or he'll just deflect in 20 different directions so people get exhausted, and they don't cut him off and say, cut the bullshit. This is what I did to him in Ottawa, and he didn't like it. I said, stop, cut the bullshit, answer my fucking question. And no one else would do that. But I've been around enough lawyers. Lawyers don't intimidate me. That I knew when I was dealing with a dirtbag when I was in front of them. Plus, I had, Diana and all these people warning me about the JCCF and keep them away from you. All they do is they rage fundraise or rage farm. They lose every case, and then they send out a bunch of emails saying, oh, our freedoms have been stolen. Send us more. We just need more money to protect more of your freedoms for the next case that we're going to lose. And... so dirty, that guy. Yeah. And then they accept his suggestions more easily. Yep. And Ashley, there's so much I want to ask you. Really, I don't want to get into it in this thing, but anyways, you you know what I'm getting into. I'll ask you about that privately at some point. But anyways, I love this video. Awesome. Which one? The one of the Breedlove posted with Cynthia Loomis. It was great. It was really awesome. People don't understand money in general. Well, that's the other thing. That's why I try to explain to like Bitcoin people and Jesse. This is why you don't have to be worried. DJ and I talk about this when we go into spaces and we have newbie Bitcoiners. You don't have to understand how Bitcoin works because most people don't understand how the fiat monetary system works. But we still use it, right? I'm a car guy, so I know, I'm stupidly a car guy. So I know I've worked on cars, I've rebuilt engines, I'm a big car nut. So I know how a car works, but lots of people have no clue how a car works. They just know they put the key in or press the start button and it drives. They still use it. Bitcoin can be, it's not all that complicated in terms of its structure, but it's really difficult to get your head around it, to accept it philosophically. It took me a good year to really accept it and understand because it's something that we've never had. It's a whole new type of asset class that's never existed before, never could exist. Because, again, it solved the Byzantine generals problem, which is a problem that existed, I think it was branded during the Byzantine Empire, but it dated back to the Sumerians. It dated back to the original concept of warfare. So we're talking about something that is thousands of years old, and Bitcoin solves it. It's crazy, right? Risa, I was talking about you today, actually, in a meeting. Ashley does incredible analysis. No, what Ashley does is, Ashley, I took one of the videos that you did, and I actually sent it to Scott Adams, who I sometimes DM with, and I said to him, I said, what do you think in terms of technique? Because Scott Adams is a trained, and you can tell, very, very persuasive hypnotist. And so I sent him one of your videos, Ashley, and he didn't quite understand. I had to explain a little bit what's going on, and his response was interesting. So, but anyways, that's why I look at your videos in maybe a certain different light, just because I'm in admiration of that sort of, what do you call it? It's not a science, but it's a technique. Andrea, good evening and night to you all. Buenas noches. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Qué haces? Andrea is in Chile. And Andrea is also in our in the Discord. By the way, we're still beta testing. I think we got up to, what do we have now, Jesse? 40 people, 50 people, something like that. Okay, sorry, yes. Chile, yes, Chile, not Chile. It's Chile. Sí, entiendo. But we are still experimenting with the Discord so we can get ready to start doing some live broadcasts. And also, we're creating a room, a channel for you guys. So I know sometimes some of you want to talk together. Some of you want to look at some source material that K9 usually brings source material together. So we're building a channel for you guys as well to start to look at stuff together, go in there and talk about stuff and share information and something like that. So we'll release it sometime in the near future once we get all the kinks out. We also just did an OTR room for over-the-road truckers, other people who are on the road to share information. Will did me a solid and gave me a really good tip about where to get my mud flaps replaced at Love's, and it was awesome. So I thought, you know what, for the other truckers who are going to join, we should probably have an OTR room for everybody to share. So we'll build this all out, and if you are not in it, let me know if you want to participate, but we will release it sometime in the near future. Is the Discord still not working with a VPN? It works for me with my VPN. K9 was having issues, we think, because of her VPN. I'm not sure, but they got it resolved, which is great. So K9, if you can let me know in the Discord how you got your issue resolved in Discord so we can share with other people, because just in case we come up with it again. Angel Fire says, I have a VPN on all the time and Discord works fine for me. Okay, so there you go. Yes, Cheryl as well also has Discord. So there you go. All right. So in conclusion, we're already an hour into this. The key thing I really wanted to drive home here is this whole I want a hitchhiker room. All right, brother. We'll work up to that. We'll work up to that. The key, PSA of all of this is the whole premise here of the good guys, that who are the nice guys, that just because somebody is a nice guy doesn't mean there's not an angle, and that person is incredibly dangerous. Well, Andrea, you weren't here in the beginning. I can explain this to you. I gave the example, something that I had experienced in Colombia, that, when you go to, an event at, this is the example I gave, but I'll give another one. You go to an event at, the mayor's house, or something politically connected in Latin America, at least especially in Colombia, it was this way. And, there's all sorts of high-profile people that are there, people who are in industry, people in politics, whatever. And, the guy who's the nicest guy in the room, who's very wealthy, very successful, very friendly, charming, everybody loves him, that's your narco. That's the guy who's more likely to be connected to something illegal and illicit. Listen, in Toronto, it's the same thing with mafia. I mean, mafia's gone mainstream now in Canada pretty much, and it's all just corporatized. But, back in the day, the people who were connected, they were the nice and charming and friendly people. It's not like the movies where everybody's a thug. Everybody likes them. They're friendly. They have nice clubs, nice restaurants, that sort of stuff. It's not, life is not the movies. So what do you think of that, Andrea, living in Chile? I know you have a problem with some, extremists on the other side. Do you agree with that sort of analogy? That the bad guys are always nice? They're never bad guys like in the movie, because if that was the case, they would never succeed in what they're trying to achieve. I was going to say freedom frogs, but I don't know what you're talking about. But all right. So beware of the nice guy, especially is yes, Benja. Benja. Tengo un otro nombre. Tengo demasiados nombres ahora. Benja, Benjamin, BJ. There's so many. Some with men who, yes. Yeah, that's a good example. And, that sort of abuse, that's what the JCCF does. The relationship that some people have with the JCCF is the same relationship as somebody who is an abused spouse. That's exactly the relationship they have. So they're nice guys. They're nice guys, right? So, All right. Well, I'm going to shut it down if there's anything else. That's why the extreme leftists are working. Yeah, because all their messaging is about love and caring and all that sort of stuff. That's why it was important for me, for the Freedom Convoy messaging to be all about peace and love and caring and unifying together and accepting each other. Because I know how much that really draws people in, and it brings us together, and it reduces anxiety. I mean, that was the big thing. I needed to get everybody out of that anxious state and getting into a celebratory mood. And if we can make the mood of the Freedom Convoy celebratory, then I knew we would be successful. And I think despite the people who, the saboteurs among us, I think we were successful in doing so. Search and rescue, thanks. We'll try to make an account. If you have an issue, let me know. All right, so I'm no DJ. Please join. It looks like you're going to join the Discord. Please join. I know I was away from it for a couple of days. I was just so insanely busy with a number of things. But I do want to thank all of you. You know, this week had a lot of bumps in the road, and I said there's going to be lots of bumps in the road. Things are going to get better, but I really do appreciate all your kindness and all your concern and all your kind messages. I really do appreciate it. It was, it really made things a lot easier. And we're going to go to war soon. So, but it's going to be fun. We're going to enjoy this because there's some people who really need to learn what vicious means. And I guess we're going to have to teach them. So things are going to get a little spicy, but the endeavor continues to ensure not only that we have the freedoms that we have, but we expand them in the future and don't let them pull them away from us as they did during COVID, because they will try again. And that's why we need to keep pushing. And in terms of the legal case, I'll talk more about it. That is why this is a concern to all of you, because if they get it certified, then there's a good chance they're going to try to add those of you who donated to the defendant list. I'm going to do everything I can to prevent that, but I'm going to need your help. We're going to talk more about that soon. Okay, I got to run. Sonia, thank you. Good all night. Peace. Thank you, Ben. Good night to all. Peace, love, freedom, hope, and unity. Likewise. I love you all. Have a good night, and be kind to everybody, and we'll get through all of this.